share these stories, because that's one of the things that happened to us that they took away when we came over here, was the art and the ability to share stories. Like, our stories were taken away from us. You know, storytelling was a big thing in our continent, to sit down and to share the stories of, you know, our culture and our God and our religion, and pass it down and make sure that this is going to be continued, you know, or improved upon through the next generation. And it's just, we have lost that ability to know how important that is. So please, when you leave here, please share. You know what I mean? A gift is only a gift when you share it. So you've been given a gift today, so please share it with others. The presentation was beautiful. I think we need to give them a hand. It was flawless. It was wonderfully put together. It was informative. It was beautiful. And the singing was just off the book.
Yeah,
that was just crazy. Okay, so I wrote a piece today. I did have some poems I was going to share, but I decided to sit down and write one today that is specific to this event, and then I'll share another piece. At 10 years old, in 5th grade, I watched a documentary in school about his life. At the conclusion of it, the teacher asked if we had any questions. After a minute of silence, I slowly raised my hand, and with tears in my eyes, I asked, why did they kill him? The teacher, seeming stunned by my emotional questioning, replied, well, unfortunately, Leslie, a lot of people didn't like him. I went home, laid on my bed, and prayed that one day we won't live in a world where people kill people just because they don't like them. I mean, how could somebody kill someone just because they were of a different race? It didn't make sense to me. From that day on, I became concerned and engaged in the struggle to liberate our minds from the thoughts of separation and death. From that day on, I vowed that I wouldn't judge someone based on the color of their skin, but on the content of their character. You see, this man was a warrior of the righteous type. This man was nonviolent, but he was strong. He was a doctor with the divine prescription. He was a man with a universal vision. His voice rivaled the thunder of a storm in the war of the African lion. He delivered speeches like he always knew they may be his last one. He breathed courageously, walked with pride, and prayed with conviction. Behind the pulpit, he moved people to move out of the box of complacency and depression into the field of fearlessness and bravery. And from ghetto to suburb, poor to rich, black to white, he resurrected the hopes of our ancestors who cried out for freedom and justice daily. He allowed himself to be physically and mentally and psychologically crucified, willing to shed blood to bring us together, to transcend our differences. He was loved and hated. He was hugged and stabbed. He was shot at. He was followed and admired. He was despised and jailed. This man, brother, friend, father, and husband, dared the world to reevaluate its beliefs about humanity's purpose and our connection to each other. We began to sing with a higher purpose. We began to hold hands with a higher purpose in our hearts. We began to understand that differences don't mean we have to be divided. We began to realize that an injury to one is an injury to all. Even if you disagreed with him, even if you did, he forced you to think about the civil and human rights of all. You became more passionate and outspoken every time he spoke or when his name was mentioned. So on this day, a day to celebrate a king, let us give thanks to God for creating in us all the potential to be kings and queens and to become leaders and followers of a righteous cause. Let this commemoration be followed by actions of love shared with the intention of leaving a more unified world for our children. See, I don't want a world where disagreement and ignorance is dealt with by brutality and death. And I don't want a world, and I know you don't either, where love is not celebrated, where hate is enhanced, and where lives that are different than mine don't matter. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had to deal with so much. So much. His life was always on the line. Every breath could have been his last. His family's life was on the line because his was on the line. His friends' lives were on the line because his life was on the line. And sometimes he was confident. Sometimes he was frustrated. Sometimes he was encouraged. Sometimes he was ready to give up. He made corrections. Yes, he made mistakes. And in my life, he made a change.